Hello guys, welcome to Kwara Youth League TV. Today on the channel, we'll talk about the inception of the league and what is the brain behind bringing up the Kwara Youth League TV in Kwara State here. And with me on the channel, we're not talking about that too, but I have two guests on the show today where we discussed about the preview of the matches that were played last weekend. And like I said earlier, we talk about the inception of the league, what is the brain behind bringing up the league in Kwara State. I have two guests on the show. First, I have one of the biggest person in Kwara sports in terms of Coach Tunde Sani. If you don't know him, he is the chairman of the Kwara Coaches Association. He is a former Kwara United coach. He is also a former Kwara United player, a former player of Shooting Stars in Ibadan, a former player of First Bank, and also a former player of NEPA in Lagos. For those that know Nigerian sports, you know how big and gigantic these teams are in Nigerian football back in those days. It's nice to have you on the show, Coach. Good afternoon. How are you doing today?
I'm happy to be here. Good afternoon.
And also now, before I go to Coach, I have to introduce my co-analyst, my co-guest on the show. Is a good friend, a good colleague on the show. We have been together for so many times. Good morning to Ibrahim Jatu. How are you doing? Good morning, Ibrahim Jatu.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be on this Kwara Youth League television. We hope to enjoy the show and trash all the stuff about the grassroots youth league that is on in Kwara State.
Now, we have to go to inception of the league. Now, I have to turn to Coach himself, Coach Tunde Sani. We know that the league started from under 15. Now, gradually, the league is in the 2020-2021 section. It is in the second edition. By the way, this is the maiden edition of the show. Subsequently, you will be having editions of the show like this. So, like I said earlier, the league started from under 17. Now, we've graduated to under 15. Now, we've graduated to under 17. Now, Coach, like I said earlier, what is the brain behind bringing up a league like this for grassroots football in Kwara State?
Yes. You see, in my agenda, before I was voted in to be the chairman of Kwara Coaches, Kwara Football Coaches, I made it mandatory that I want to develop Kwara State football coaches at the same time to develop the talent in the state. Because when you go to the stadium, there are a lot of young players, young boys that are trying to play the game. But by bringing them together for an organized tournament, that's the reason. I mean, that's the main reason behind that.
Now you have it. The main reason behind the Kwara Youth League is to develop the players and develop the coaches. Now the question that people want to ask is, how are you able to do this? How are you able to develop the player and also develop the coaches from grassroots?
Okay, I am a member of Kwara State Football Association. If you remember, we had a tournament being played by all 16 local governments. I borrowed that idea from that tournament. And I decided that was a tournament. But if they have played the tournament, I don't want things to go down like that. I have to make use of my brain that instead of the tournament that ended, I want a situation that we have reasonable number of teams so that then they come together, they play week in, week out. They play weekly. So I made this league to be playing both home and away, so that they too, the players can feel what Kwara United ABS are feeling by traveling to another environment and at the same time by playing at home.
Now you have it there. The way they develop players and coaches in Kwara State, they can play home and away games in a league format, organized league format like the Kwara Youth League, where the players also can know how it feels like to play in a proper league, what Kwara United feel in playing in the MPFL. And also the coaches, you don't just come because in the grassroots, it's all about playing tournaments. It's not just about playing tournaments. It's about preparing the boys every week where the coach can be assessed and the players can be assessed. Now, I want to talk about the influence that this league has in the society. I would like to pose this question to Ibrahim Jatu. Now, you've also been following this league since inception. Now, going around, looking at the Kwara State in total, how has this league influenced players? Now, it talks about improvement too. How has this league improved, changed the mentality of coaches and players in Kwara State?
Well, honestly, it's a big kudos to Coach Tunde Sani led NFCA, Nigerian Football Coaches Association, for bringing up the idea of playing a youth league. I think all over Nigeria, what we have seen is not a proper league. We've heard about the Lagos, the Surulere League in Lagos. We've heard about the Semba Temba League in Jos. But what we have in Kwara is what you can call a true league, because what we have is that each team has its own playing ground, and you have to travel. You play an home and away format, and in this situation, it gives room for proper preparation. It's in weekly sequence where you play week in, week out, and for that it has allowed teams to actually have a weekly preparation of routines. Like on Monday, teams will have to set out their training plans. We have to have physical training on Monday. On Tuesday, we do ball work. On Wednesday, in that order, before they prepare for the game on Friday and Saturdays. The Kwara Youth League is played on Friday evenings and Saturday mornings, so all across like 8 centers at the same time. So in that, it has actually influenced the viewership, the audience, because they have their audience, and the teams spread across all over the nook and crannies of the Kwara State capital.
About 4 or 5 local governments in Kwara State. That is where you have teams in Kwara Youth League playing, because they are in 4 local governments, and you have people coming out in mass to support their own team in their own local government in Kwara State. Now we have to talk about where this league starts from. Coach, we start from under 15, where we take them young before they all graduated to under 17, which we have right now. Now we cannot but talk about the challenges that you have faced from the under 15 to under 17. Can you share some of those challenges and how you've able to overcome the challenges up to this point that we have? Because we remember there is COVID last season. Even with the COVID, the league still continues. So coach, what are the challenges and how have you been able to overcome those challenges?
There are a lot of challenges, but I'm adamant to dance to the tune of those challenges. I'm always looking for a way out. How can we do it? There are a lot of players, overpopulation, but you see, we have to ask them to register at least 25 players per team. 25 players in each team. You see, we can monitor these teams. And when you look at the qualities of our teams playing our league, right from under 15, go and watch them now. Some of them are developing seriously. Like Ibrahim Jato have said, you see, the mentality of coaches have changed. The mentality of players have changed. They say, we are playing KFA next week. KFA is very tough. We have to train hard. They now know that they have to train very, very hard. In our league now, this under 17, you see, because apart from under 15, under 17 is a national issue. That by the time we hear that the assembly under 17, we either pick the best from our team, form a team to go and play them at Abuja, so that they can have the advantage of watching our best legs, so that they can pick 1, 2, 3 of them.
Well, what you're also saying is this is an avenue for national coaches, under 17 coaches, under 15 coaches, that you want to pick players to represent the country. They can come to the league, or probably speak to 1 or 2 people that know the league very well, and they send them players, because these players are already match fit and they are in a game mood to represent the country. Now I think we've talked about a little bit about the challenges, where you talk about players and you talk about their preparation towards the game. Now I have to go into finances. How have you been able to run the league? Because it is not easy to run a football league in Nigeria, whereby everything has to do home and away format. You have to go in the away format, and so far since the league has been run, we have not had any carryover games, any team not honoring their games, with some exceptions that we must state that has not been recorded because of finance, but because of other personal issues that cannot be solved. But it just has to be like that. Now the question is, how have you been able to run this thing, the finance, to keep this league going, even with COVID that has affected even the top teams in the world right now?
That is the major problem, finance. You see, everything is about finance. You see, even from one team to move to Gerewu, because this team, it is extended to the local area of the town.
Exactly.
Like Gerewu,
about
like
four local governments in Kwara State. Exactly.
You see, this is not a small journey. These teams have to travel to that place. But what is making us happy about it is that only God is helping us. The little money that we're supposed to have in our account, I have to make sure that this league must not stop, because we have a mission to develop our coaches at the same time to develop players.
Now you talk about only God. Coach, God will not send money. Is it that the league has a sponsor, or the league does not have a sponsor?
We don't have any sponsor right now. We are looking for it. We are even searching for it every day, day in, day out, because we are almost run out of cash.
Okay, guys, that's you hear the Kwara Youth League itself. This season it's all about 16 teams competing for the title of who will win the league. While last season must be stated, we have 12 teams that compete last season, and Kwara Football Academy, they are the defending champions. They won the league, defeating Premisport Lasura, SC Premisport Lasura in the final to win the league last season in a Super 6 format. That was how they won the league last season. They are the defending champions, and like I said, we started with 12 teams in the league, but this season we have 16 teams. That shows that in the first aspect of the league there will be 15 rounds of games. So thank you for that. Enough about the league, which we need to go into the 2020-2021 edition of the league, because we have to talk about that. That started on June 18. Week 8 will be going to, but we have to talk about week 7 games. Right now, Abre Sports Football Club is the top of the league, followed by last season winner, that is KFA. They are tied on point, just goal difference, just a goal difference separating both teams. Now, Ibrahim Jato, we need to talk about what happened last weekend. A lot of big games were played, but we have to talk about the match of the week. That is the game between Ladere United, who are last season finalists. They changed their name from SC Premisport Lasura to Ladere United. Now they play away at Apre Sports right there at the river basin there around Tanke area in Kwara State, and they lost by 2-1. It is one of the biggest game of the last. In fact, it is the match of the week of week 7. And what can you tell us about that game between Apre Sports and Ladere United?
Of course, that is the top of the table clash, even though Ladere is far away from the top ladder, but definitely they are a top side. I just want to digress a bit to what the chairman of the Coaches Association have said earlier about sponsorship. I think the Kwara Youth League has gotten a lot of value, and at the tail end of last year, during the time when the under-17 team were preparing, some boys were picked from the league and they held the Golden Eagle to a 1-1 draw. And truly, these boys were young, and we can see some of the credibility about the league is that a lot of these players were truly young. They were truly under 17. A lot of them are in the secondary school cadre. But for seeing a team like Ladere United playing Abre Sport at the River Basin Stadium, a very big stadium for that matter, and the quality of Abre Sport and Ladere, and the game ended 2-1. An end-to-end battle throughout the contest, and you can actually see some of the top quality games we have seen in the league. Ladere losing away to Abre Sport 2-1 in week 7. You can actually look for more and more. But this will be a call to some of the national team coaches who are handling the 8th grade tournament. They only need to come out and see some of these games. A game like Abre Sport versus Ladere is a miss for our national team coaches, because we have seen some of these top players coming out from Ladere, coming out from Abre Sport, doing their bit, and they can actually compete favorably with the best. I can say without any missing of words, like these players from the grassroots, from the Kwara Youth League, are some of the best we have in this country in that category.
Now, I'm talking about the success, just to digress, success of the Kwara Youth League. A player from the Kwara Youth League is part of the last Golden Eaglets squad. That is John Emmanuel. He has also made one of the match day squad for Kwara United, because he's currently in the Kwara United squad that finished 4th on the table, technically fourth on the table, but third on the table when the league finishes, because of what happened between Rivers United and Jigawa Golden Stars. They finished fourth on the table, so he is part of that squad, and that shows the kind of progression the league has been making from some of these young stars who are coming through this league. John Emmanuel last season plays for Kwara Football Academy. He was part of the Golden Eaglet that should have competed in the AFCON tournament, under 17 tournament, but they were not able to play that. But he went to the Wafu Cup with the under 17 boys. But that is part of the success of the league. Now going back to week 7, in review of week 7 games, it's not only about Apre Sports and Ladere United. While the goal against Ladere was a fantastic goal, about 40-yard screamer scored by Ladere United after going 2 goals down. We have to talk about another one, because this is one of the games that is also looked out for last week. The game between Jovic Mike Eleni Football Academy and Kwara Football Academy. Why is it one of those games? It's because right now Jovic Mike are currently one of the toppers of the league, 5th on the log. That is talking about Jovic Mike. And last season they lost by 7-1 to KFA at their home ground. But this season, they held their own, pushed KFA to the limit before they lost the game by 3 goals to 2. And Ibrahim Jato, what can you say about the quality of that game, especially Jovic Mike Eleni Football Academy?
Of course, I was at the center at the Nigerian Stored Products Research Institute at Asadam, where the game was held on Friday, though it was disrupted by rain at some point, but that actually did not affect the quality of the game. An end-to-end game. Kwara Football Academy shot into the lead in the first half. They were 2 goals up in the first half, but Jovic Mike Eleni came back in the second half and restored parity, scoring 2 quick goals. That will show you the tempo of that game. 2-2 as at 80 minutes of the game, and before Kwara United were able to fashion out a win. Kwara Football Academy, permit me. It was a very, very tough game. And actually, Jovic Mike has actually developed from, because it was actually the week 1 of the under 15 league last season. Exactly. When Kwara Football Academy walloped Jovic Mike by 7 goals to 1. But it was a different ball game entirely last week, where Kwara Football Academy suffered and labored to get a very slim victory, keenly contested and good football artistry. You can actually point out that the quality of play, the quality of the pitch of play, even some of the Nigerian league pitches, except one thing you have to add is that we have some teams who have a good ground to play games, like Apre Sports, like Ladere United, like Jovic Mike, like KFA, ABS Futures. They are playing on grass, well grass pitches. I can actually count. We don't have up to 5 teams playing in Nigerian Professional League who are playing on grass. Even our own Kwara United plays on synthetic, which is not good enough, because we want this player to be at that peak of world standard. But they are playing on grass, not even on sand, and the field are at least in good condition.
Now, going to week 7 results, we have Apre Sports winning 2-1 at home to Ladere United. That is the game of the week. Jovic Mike losing at home to KFA by 3 goals to 2. La Planet also losing at home, one of the strong teams in the league. They lost at home to Aromo KFC. That is also one of the new teams this season. They lost at home to them by 2 goals to nothing. Kola also won at home to House of Prayers by 2 goals to 1. Samba drew at home to Zahaj. Goalless was the scoreline there. Oka Sport also losing at home to Delmek. Delmek is a football academy owned by former Golden Eagles goalkeeper Dele Yenuba. While we have the last game of the week going between Gerewu United and Sunrise. Gerewu winning by 1 goal to nothing. While the last one that's supposed to be played, but will be played on Tuesday, is the game between Future Stars and ABS Youth Team. That is another exciting game between Future Stars and ABS Youth Team. Will be played today by 4 p.m. at the Kwara Football Academy pitch 3. That is where you can get to see that game. Thank you. And also, before we end the show today, for 3 segments, we have to give a special recognition to someone that has been part of us at the Kwara Youth League, but sadly he is no more with us, in terms of the first chairman of the league management committee of the Kwara Youth League, Coach Clement Olayinka, who passed on last month. May his soul rest in peace. Thank you very much for being with us today, and always remember to join us in Kwara Youth League TV.